What's going on? Today we are diving into the specs and features of the AGON Pro 45-inch OLED monitor from AOC, this bad boy right here. If you've been on the hunt for a top-tier gaming monitor to elevate your experience, stick around because this might just be the winner.
Let's kick things off with the overall design. It boasts a sleek, modern aesthetic with an ultra slim screen profile and a not so slim center profile and narrow bezels, which means more screen real estate, and this monitor has plenty of it. The stand that it comes with is both stylish and sturdy and quite large, but it does offer an extremely stable platform. It features adjustable height, tilt, and you can even turn the monitor vertical if you wanted to for some reason. The monitor features highly customizable RGB lighting on the back as well, which is always a plus for me personally. One thing to note is that because of how curved this monitor is and the thickness of the center portion, it does stand out a good ways from the wall. So just keep that in mind if you have a more narrow desk or up against a wall like I am. I personally chose to mount mine on a wall mount, which freed up an extra inch or two of space from my face, as well as a good chunk of desk space, because the feet on the stand are quite wide. As far as display and performance goes, this monitor packs a 45-inch OLED panel with 34 by 1440 resolution. Now, some of you might be thinking that 1440 is too low resolution for 45 inches of screen. And while you might be right that about 83 pixels per inch isn't the crispiest you can get, that isn't really the point of this particular monitor, and the vivid colors, brightness, and deep blacks of the OLED panel definitely make up for any clarity you think you might be missing out on. It also features 240 hertz refresh rate and a 0.03 gray to gray response time for buttery smooth gameplay with nearly non-existent motion blur. The only time you may have issue with motion blur is if you're getting a low frame rate, like under, around 100 frames or less. In that scenario, it's going to be best to turn down the graphics settings a notch or two to really get the frame rate this monitor was made for. The motion resolution is spot on at 200 frames or more, and for me personally, my 7900 XTX has been a great card for it, and games look absolutely phenomenal. In terms of color accuracy, this monitor doesn't disappoint. It covers approximately 98% of the DCI P3 color gamut and 127% of sRGB, ensuring vibrant and true-to-life colors. Additionally, with HDR10 certification, you get deeper blacks, brighter whites, and it makes your games and movies look absolutely stunning.
With HDR native enabled, and in games that may not fully support HDR, I did notice a minimal amount of flickering around the edges of the screen, but it was primarily an issue in especially dark parts of the game, like near black type of parts of the game, while in menus. Primarily, if you're selecting different things on the menu quickly, if you're really looking for it, you can kind of see a bit of flicker on the very outside edges of the screen, like in here. But it was honestly minimal and only with HDR in extremely dark places because it's constantly trying to refresh and update the amount of backlight that it's giving. And it seemed to be worse if you had a low frame rate. Beyond that, I didn't really have any issues at all with flickering or anything like that. With HDR off, it wasn't an issue. And there's also a variety of gamma settings if you're not using HDR that you can tune to change. And so, honestly, overall, the picture is great. It's super bright. It looks awesome. And it works great right out of the box. There was no need for calibration or anything like that. So, as far as the picture goes, it's on point. It looks really, really good. Now, let's talk the difference between HDR and not HDR and why you're never going to turn HDR off. Check this out.
For those of you that haven't experienced an OLED with HDR, here's a quick shot of 7 Days to Die in standard and then in HDR. The difference is nuts, honestly, and it really does make a huge difference in the visuals of your favorite games. As for connectivity, it's well equipped. It features two HDMI 2.1 slots, one DisplayPort 1.4, and a USB-C port with 90-watt charging and data transfer capabilities for simultaneously charging and displaying an image from a laptop. which is further enhanced by a built-in KVM switch, allowing you to use a single keyboard and mouse for multiple inputs, a la a laptop and a desktop tower. There are also 4 side-facing USB 3.0 ports, with one being fast charge compatible. As for console compatibility, it is compatible, but you're unfortunately a bit restricted on frame rates with consoles, so I don't know that I would want to fork out the money for this particular monitor for console use, but that's your call. The on-screen display, or OSD menu, is user-friendly and provides a range of customization options. It even comes with a remote, so you don't have to fumble with a button on the back. You can tweak settings for color, brightness, on-screen crosshairs, RGB settings for the backside, and a handful of stuff for maintenance settings for keeping your OLED panel in good health. I will note that in order to keep the 3-year warranty alive, you do need to perform the maintenance procedure and pixel refresh every so often, but it's extremely easy to do, so it's not a problem at all and gives you peace of mind. The monitor also features 2 built-in 8-watt speakers, which, as far as monitor speakers go, are hands down the best ones I have heard. So if you spent all your money on this monitor and you can't afford speakers yet, you're in luck. So there you have it. The AGON Pro AG456UCZD is packed with impressive specs and features that make it a standout choice for gamers looking for top-tier performance and visuals. If you enjoyed this review, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate you watching so much, and we'll see you on the next one.